All right, welcome to a brand audit for Disney. My name is Trinity, and we're going to look at one of the best examples for a multinational conglomerate that has been able to maintain a synergetic and long lasting legacy of a brand identity, and how that's led to a really strong position in terms of brand resonance. So, having started in 1923, and as initially the Walt Disney Company, it was a small animation studio with a goal of putting forward a really targeted small series. And this was a Steamboat Willie, and then moved into the Mickey Mouse. However, really quickly, they were able to pick up some steam and moved into some full length feature films, eventually led them to acquiring other studios, growing much larger, being able to take on live action films. And you can see now in that photo in the very bottom left hand corner, they, in especially the last 10 years, have focused on a diversification acquisition. And what this has allowed them to do is to acquire other really big name producing studios such as Marvel, they have Pixar and Lucasfilms. And this has taken what they were known for originally as an animation studio for a younger audience and really broadened that appeal. So Disney's focus now and a target market is that universal appeal for a broad, timeless market. Their product line has been quite extended, and that brand portfolio falls into four categories, really. So, our first one is we've got the Walt Disney Pictures and their manufacturing or producing of films. We then, in link to that, has the Disney Plus streaming platform, the Disney Store, which is the commercialization and merchandising of their products that they're selling, of the films that they're putting forward, and then the theme parks, so Disney Parks, Disney World, Disneyland. Now, whilst Disney is covering quite a lot of ground in terms of their brand portfolio, they've done a really good job at maintaining brand elements, trying to have a really synergetic approach. This comes down to particularly the six I have listed on the screen. So the first one is name. The reoccurring use of the Disney name creates not just awareness in consumers, but it becomes credibility, particularly in a brand that has such a long lasting legacy of success and of high quality. Using the Disney name builds instant rapport, instant credibility in new products and with consumers. So, for example, Disney Plus, Disneyland. This is reinforced in the logo. So you can see that they've got a trademarked logo, which is that cursive. It's very fun. It's very loopy, creating that idea of childhood whimsical um, tone. And then they also have not just that, but a sans serif that keeps a consistent look and style when they're putting together promotional material. The tagline, we see this whimsical creativity coming through imagination and magic, which is reinforced, and the motif appears again in their auditory signals. So their auditory signals plays at the beginning of every film, every media series, and it's based on an orchestraic twinkling. So that idea of whimsical, of magical experience, and those feelings that are listed with that. In terms of the colors they use, this has actually been taken off the Disney Australian and New Zealand brand package. So they've put together a brand package for their sub brands to use to ensure consistency. You can see there that the use of a simplistic navy blue, black, and white has been the main focus. However, when we move into the actual products, those primary colors at the bottom become really important. That gives the forward the fun that's going to be engaging for our younger target audience. And then in terms of characters, we're going to look at this in their evolution, but leveraging the iconic characters that consumers start to resonate with in order to link it back to a brand. So, in terms of that evolution, the very first, I guess, branding exercise that the company took in their first decade or so was actually less focused on a brand and more specific to the content of the franchise and product they were working on. So, the Mickey Mouse series, using this character as a key element, was the way that Disney created their first initial brand identity. So they focused on having that animation style. And because of the animation style, it was fun, it was friendly, it was engaging and dynamic, it was easy to watch. And they've carried that through in that font. And so the fonts had a couple of changes over the years, but you can see that they've kept the same personality. And this has come through and has been consistent all the way till now. How does that timeless approach impact Disney? Well, we can have a look at it on the next slide. As you can see, their brand associations are quite complex. But even with a very diversified product profile or brand profile, the brand associations are quite consistent. This has actually been put forward by Walt Disney in the earlier stages, where he looked at all the contact points that the brand had with consumers and how they could use it to not just fulfill the need of a consumer, but to move beyond that level of satisfaction and instead into a feelings based. They were working on building positive emotions of joy, excitement, and nostalgia, which has been leveraged quite heavily by the company and the brand, which is, I guess, a big theme here in those brand associations. However, there are some negative associations that have come out of this, particularly in the most recent decade. We've looked back at the older products and have noticed that as a society, there's a couple of comments in terms of limited diversity or the promotion of stereotypes, particularly in a negative way. With all of that in mind, though, where does that place Disney in this industry? And there are quite a few really large points of parity in the industry. And with the largest two competitors Disney is facing, so Universal and Warner Brothers, in terms of the points of parity, all three of these brands are viewed as a high quality animation, storytelling, production studio. They are known for having high quality characters and franchises that are high equity, high awareness, and also being quite family friendly. However, you can see Disney operates in almost an entirely different quadrant. What does this mean? Well, because of their legacy and their heritage, they've been able to really sink down into that nostalgia factor. So, by focusing in on the feelings of a childhood character and really leveraging a customer lifetime value, whereas in contrast, Warner Brothers and Universal's typically target an older market, so they focus in on feelings of excitement, thrill, and action. If we look at the overview of the data results from a sample size of 15 consumers, and you can see in the upper left-hand corner a distribution of those age groups, the almost amazing thing was that 100% of these consumers not only recognized the brand and knew the product offering, but they also all agreed that Disney was a leader in the family-friendly entertainment and high-quality content. 93% of these consumers were able to identify this brand imagery of a childhood or growing up, or they were able to link it to a magical experience, imagination, and dreams. And 87% had a high level of brand resonance. How does this compare to the competitors, though? So if we look at Universal and Warner Brothers, in terms of the lower levels of the brand equity pyramid, there's quite a high level of parity. There's a high level of awareness. However, where Disney truly shines as a global leader is as we reach to the top parts of the pyramid in terms of brand feeling, brand resonance. My hypothesis on why this is the difference between Disney's approach of brand synergy and the competitor's approach of franchise branding. So, whilst the competitors do pose challenges, Disney's ability to maintain and innovate its brand identity in that timeless appeal positions it as a global leader in entertainment.